There are things in life we spend decades chasing, worrying about, or trying to hold on to, only to discover, after 70, that they were never really that important. Turning 70 isn't the end of the road. It's a gentle turning point, a moment when you begin to see life through a different lens, one that's clearer, calmer, and more honest. The things that once kept you up at night, the pressures you carried for so long, the standards you tried to meet, they begin to fade. Not because you've given up, but because you've grown wise enough to know what truly matters and what doesn't. In today's video, we'll explore 7 things that become meaningless after 70. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're lived truths, gathered from real experiences, backed by psychology, and echoed by people across generations who've walked this path before. Letting go of these burdens isn't about giving up, it's about making space. Space for peace, for joy, for a deeper sense of purpose. When we're younger, life often feels like a race. We strive to meet expectations, gain approval, stay trendy, prove our worth, and hold on to the past or even resentment, thinking it protects us. But as the years go by, something beautiful happens. You begin to realize that happiness doesn't come from holding on, it comes from letting go. If you're over 70 or approaching that season of life, this video is for you. And if you're younger, consider this a glimpse into the kind of wisdom that time can teach. These insights may help you start releasing the unnecessary weight a little earlier so you can live more freely, more intentionally, starting now. So, what are these 7 things you no longer need to carry to feel lighter and happier in your later years? Let's find out together. But before we dive in, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming content. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us continue creating meaningful, inspiring videos just like this one. Now, let's begin the journey, not of doing more, but of caring less. Because sometimes, the path to a fuller life starts with choosing what no longer deserves your time, your energy, or your peace of mind. First thing, other people's opinions. There was a time in life when other people's opinions felt like they defined your worth. What you wore, what job you had, how you raised your kids, or even how your garden looked. Everything seemed open for judgment. And you cared, you adjusted yourself, made choices, even held yourself back just to avoid criticism. But after 70, something inside shifts. You start to see those opinions for what they truly are: fleeting, inconsistent, and often more about the insecurities of others than anything to do with you. You realize that trying to live up to everyone else's standards only delays your peace. It keeps you stuck in a loop of performance instead of presence. The need for approval begins to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence that says, "I know who I am, and that's enough." Letting go of what others think isn't about becoming rude or closed off. It's about honoring your own voice above the noise. People will always have opinions, no matter what you do, and more often than not, they'll forget those opinions just as quickly as they formed them. What stays with you is how you feel about your choices. After 70, you've earned the right to stop people-pleasing and start choosing what brings you joy, health, and peace of mind. There's a quiet power in walking into a room and not wondering what anyone thinks of you. That's not arrogance. That's wisdom. That's freedom. And once you experience it, you never want to go back. Because nothing feels better than finally living life on your terms with no apologies and no need for permission. The second thing is trying to follow trends. In a world that moves fast and praises the latest, it's easy to feel pressure to keep up. Whether it's fashion, technology, social media, or lifestyle choices, there's a constant message: stay current or risk being left behind. For much of life, we try to fit in, buying the newest phone, wearing what's in style, following the trends just to feel relevant. But after 70, that pressure starts to loosen its grip. You begin to realize how temporary trends truly are. What's in today will be forgotten tomorrow, and chasing it all often brings more stress than satisfaction. Instead, comfort, authenticity, and personal joy take the lead. You stop asking, "Is this popular?" and start asking, "Does this feel right for me?" Maybe you prefer soft, cozy clothes over what's fashionable. Maybe you still love reading paper books, listening to old songs, or decorating your home the way that makes you feel peaceful, not the way a magazine says it should look. Following trends is about seeking approval. Letting go of them is about embracing yourself. After 70, you've seen enough to know that trends come and go, but your comfort, your peace of mind, and your true preferences are worth far more than trying to impress others. There's strength in choosing timelessness over trendiness, in honoring your own rhythm rather than keeping up with a world that never stops spinning. And in doing so, you find a kind of joy that no new gadget or fashion piece can offer. A joy rooted in knowing who you are and no longer needing to follow the crowd to feel valuable. The third thing is regretting the past. Regret is something we all carry at some point, a missed opportunity, a harsh word we wish we hadn't said, a decision we'd go back and change if we could. In earlier years, these moments can replay in our minds over and over, becoming quiet burdens that never quite leave. But after 70, something softens. You begin to look at your past not as a list of mistakes, but as a path, imperfect, yes, but one that brought you exactly to where you are today. The older you get, the more clearly you see that your younger self was simply doing the best they could with what they knew at the time. You begin to replace judgment with compassion. Just like you wouldn't scold a child for not knowing everything, you learn to stop blaming yourself for decisions made under pressure, fear, or limited understanding. Every joy and every hardship helped shape the strength, wisdom, and depth you carry now. After 70, regret begins to lose its power, not because the past changes, but because your perspective does. You realize that holding on to regret doesn't help you grow. It only holds you back. Instead of asking, "What if?" you start asking, "What now?" You become more focused on the life that's still unfolding, not the chapters already written. There's great freedom in acknowledging your past, taking the lessons it gave you, and choosing not to carry the weight of it anymore. You don't have to forget, but you can choose to move forward with clarity instead of pain, because regret lives in the past, but your life, your joy, and your purpose live here, in the present. The fourth thing is comparing yourself to others. At different points in life, we all fall into the trap of comparison. It starts early, comparing grades, clothes, popularity, and follows us into adulthood. Who has the bigger house, the more successful children, the happier marriage? But after 70, something changes. You begin to understand that every life is unique, and comparison is not only unfair, it's often based on incomplete stories. You start to see that no one's life is as perfect as it looks from the outside. The photos of smiling families, exotic vacations, or milestone celebrations rarely show the full picture, the struggles, the doubts, the losses, and when you realize that, the need to measure yourself against others starts to fade. Instead of asking, "Why don't I have what they have?" you begin to ask, "What do I already have that truly matters to me?" Your journey is yours alone, shaped by your values, choices, and circumstances. After 70, success looks different. It's no longer about achievement or recognition. It's about peace, meaningful relationships, personal joy, and living each day with intention. You find pride not in how your life looks compared to someone else's, but in how it feels to you. Comparison steals more than joy. It steals your focus. It distracts you from the quiet beauty of your own life, the victories you've earned, and the resilience that's brought you this far. At this stage, you understand that you don't need to match anyone else's pace or path. You just need to be faithful to your own. Let others live their stories, and you live yours fully, honestly, and with gratitude. Because the greatest gift you can give yourself after 70 is freedom from comparison and the confidence to embrace your life exactly as it is. The fifth thing is pushing your body beyond its limits. In our younger years, we often felt the need to prove something. our strength, our independence, our ability to keep going no matter what. We pushed through pain, ignored signs of exhaustion, and believed rest was weakness. But after 70, that narrative begins to shift. You start to realize that slowing down isn't giving up, it's growing wise. Listening to your body isn't defeat, it's self-respect. You've spent decades using your body to care for others, build a life, and get through hardships. Now, your body deserves gentleness in return. That means honoring your limits, taking breaks without guilt, and letting go of the idea that you have to do everything yourself. There's nothing weak about asking for help or choosing rest. In fact, it takes strength to know when to pause, when to delegate, and when to say, "That's enough for today." After 70, the goal is no longer to push harder, but to move with intention. You begin to notice the whispers your body sends, the subtle aches, the quiet fatigue, and instead of brushing them aside, you listen. You stretch more gently, walk at your own pace, and take naps when needed. You choose comfort over image, healing over hustle. There is dignity in choosing ease. There is wisdom in preserving your energy for the things that truly matter. Time with loved ones, moments of peace, and activities that bring you joy. You've already proven yourself in so many ways. Now is the time to care for the vessel that's carried you this far. Not by pushing it to the limit, but by treating it with the care and gratitude it has earned. The sixth thing is holding on to grudges. Grudges are heavy, even when we think we've tucked them away. They sit quietly in the corners of our hearts, coloring our thoughts, draining our energy, and keeping us from fully opening up to life. When we're younger, holding on to anger can feel like self-protection, a way to guard ourselves from being hurt again. But after 70, you start to realize how much that anger has cost you over the years. You begin to see that holding on to resentment doesn't punish the person who hurt you. It only hurts you. The longer you carry it, the more it takes up space that could be filled with joy, peace, and meaningful connection. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting or saying what happened was okay. It's about deciding that your own peace of mind matters more than the pain of the past. After 70, there's a shift, a deep knowing that life is too short to stay angry. You start to soften, not because the hurt didn't matter, but because it no longer controls you. Sometimes forgiveness comes through a conversation, but sometimes it's a quiet choice you make in your heart. I'm done carrying this, and with that decision, something lifts. Letting go doesn't always mean reconciliation. It simply means making space in your life for the good things, laughter, love, healing, and growth. You understand that everyone is flawed, that people hurt others from their own brokenness, and that you too have been forgiven in your life. There's deep freedom in choosing not to carry old pain any longer. At this stage, you've earned that freedom. You've earned the right to protect your peace and to let go of what no longer serves it. The seventh thing is rushing to meet someone else's timeline. All throughout life, we're told there's a timeline we should follow. Graduate by a certain age, get married by another, have a family, build a career, retire at the right time. These milestones become silent expectations, and if we miss them, we're made to feel like we've fallen behind. But after 70, that illusion starts to crumble. You begin to see those timelines for what they really are. Social constructs, not measures of your worth or happiness. You realize there's no one-size-fits-all path. Life doesn't expire after a certain age. If anything, this stage opens new doors to learn, to love, to grow in ways you never imagined. Maybe you pick up painting at 73, fall in love at 76, or start piano lessons at 80. None of it is too late, if it still brings you joy. After 70, you stop asking, "Am I too old?" and start asking, "Does this still matter to me?" There's something deeply liberating about living on your own schedule. You no longer chase someone else's version of success. Instead, you write your own story, one chapter at a time, on your own terms. Whether it's pursuing a dream, healing an old wound, or simply enjoying the present moment, you now understand that timing is personal, not universal. Letting go of the rush allows you to live more fully. You replace pressure with presence, and you give yourself permission to explore life without deadlines. Because joy, creativity, connection, these things don't belong to the young. They belong to the willing. And at 70 or beyond, the timeline that matters most is the one that honors your heart, your rhythm, and your truth. As we come to the end of this video, take a moment to reflect on the 7 things we've explored. Opinions of others, chasing trends, regretting the past, comparing yourself to others, pushing your body too hard, holding on to grudges, and rushing to meet someone else's timeline. Each of these represents a weight we've carried, sometimes for decades. And yet, life after 70 offers a powerful gift, the permission to finally set them down. The true lesson here isn't about aging, it's about awakening. It's about realizing that happiness doesn't come from doing more, pleasing everyone, or trying to keep up. It comes from clarity, from knowing what matters, and choosing to live each day in alignment with that truth. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means freeing yourself from expectations that no longer serve you. It means making room for the things that do: peace, health, purpose, connection, curiosity, and joy. These aren't things reserved for the young. They're available to anyone willing to embrace them, especially in this new, wiser stage of life. You've already done so much. You've overcome challenges, made sacrifices, and gathered wisdom the world desperately needs. Now it's your time to live for you, to do what feels meaningful, to speak with your own voice, to rest when needed, and to love freely without fear or hesitation. You don't have to rush. You don't have to prove anything. The simple fact that you are here, still growing, still learning, still feeling, that is enough. So as you move forward, ask yourself, what can I let go of today that no longer adds value to my life? And what can I embrace that brings me peace, fulfillment, and joy? If this video spoke to your heart, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below. Let us know which part resonated with you most, or share a personal insight. Your words might inspire someone else watching. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. We'll be sharing more tips, reflections, and healthcare guidance designed especially for older adults, because your well-being matters, and there's so much more life to enjoy. Thank you for spending this time with us. Here's to a lighter heart, a stronger spirit, and the freedom to live your life fully on your terms. We'll see you in the next video.